When should you pay a fee for financial advice or pay a fee advisor? There's one time in particular, I think you should pay an ongoing fee. I just listened to the Boglehead podcast, which I just recently found out about. I think it's only got 12 episodes so far. But I like it. And they were in Rick Ferry or something like that. He was interviewing Larry Swedroe or something like that. And I've followed Rick and Larry for a number of years, and I like the stuff they do. But anyway, so Larry was talking about that basically, when should you pay? And he goes, at the end of the day, you're not paying, literally, you're paying for when you have a surviving spouse who just is overwhelmed with everything. And that's where, with Charlotte, my wife now was a bond analyst, actually was on conference calls with Donald Trump, as a matter of fact, when he was trying to hawk his bonds. And Trump was the same as he is now. Even this is back in the late 90s, same as like his investments were the best thing since sliced bread. So I'm going to build the best thing since sliced bread, like building the wall, bombastic and arrogant. But anyway, it's a salesman, no other way around that. But my wife was literally analyzing bonds for Trump and other organizations. I mean, she's not new to this side of the equation. But at the end of the day, she doesn't know financial planning. She doesn't. I mean, she works for a CPA shop right now. She knows taxes. She knows how to do taxes. She files taxes every day. So again, she's not ignorant about financial planning. Financial matters and numbers don't frighten her. But when it comes to financial planning, she's not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. So what I say is I got a good friend who works over at Creative Planning, Jordan. And I told him, I said, look, we're not going to, Jordan's probably 15 years my younger. Is that what it is? I'm the elder, they're the younger. I don't know. He's probably 15 years, 10 years younger than me, probably 10. And he works at Creative Planning. And as much as I've bashed Jonathan Clements, and rightly so, if I might add, there does come a time where I think you should pay for financial advisory on a regular basis in order to make sure that you're not getting rooked by some snake in the grass. And that would be when you're a surviving spouse. So I tell my wife, I told Jordan this, and who knows if Jordan will still be around. If not, I'll have to find somebody else. But there's tons of people I know in this business who I trust implicitly that I'll tell them, all right, Charlotte, when I die, because I'll certainly die before she does, and you get life insurance, contact Jordan. He'll take care of it from there, and he'll invest your money. He'll charge a fee. It won't be a cheap fee. In that case, it's money well spent, in my opinion, though. Let's say it's $1 million. We'll just say that. Let's say he charges 80 basis points and he puts her in a DFA fund, so 25 basis points or something like that. All-in fee is about 1 to 1.25 max. But it's not completely off Charlotte's realm. She doesn't have to do anything. I mean, that's the benefit of that, is that she doesn't have to worry about RMD. She doesn't have to worry about rebalancing. She doesn't have to worry about investing. She just lets Jordan take care of it, and it's done. And she knows that she won't be come under the allure of some shyster that's trying to sell her on variable annuities and bad products, for sure. Whole life insurance, to be your own banker and all that stuff. She won't come under that that allure of that, of a slick talking salesman. She'll just she knows Jordan's got her under control. And I think for someone like that, that's money well spent. So let's just say it's $8,000, $9,000 all in for $1 million to make sure that she has an asset base she won't outlive, and there's no way that no one can guarantee that. So I'm just saying, but at least Jordan will have the best of the contemporary state-of-the-art financial planning services at his fingertips, for sure. Best tax planning services. But that's where a group like Creative Planning really makes sense, because they have the best state-of-the-art and they do the whole thing for you. Frankly, I don't think it's worth it if it's Charlotte and me, but I do think it's worth it. It's just her. Now, it might not be. She might say, "No, I'm good with all this stuff." You know what I'm saying? She goes, "I'm not going to spend $8,000-9,000. I'm comfortable with that." As we say here today, I don't think she will. And the reason for that is because, she got children to take care of still. She got to work. She got a house to maintain, the whole thing. But, later on down the road, she goes, "Yeah, I can do it. No big deal." I mean, but we'll see. But that would be, in my opinion, the one time it makes sense to hire. And when I say the one time, I'm looking at it from my perspective. there can be absolutely other times when you should do it too. And one of those times is when you don't want to mess with this stuff. It's okay to hire somebody. I mean, literally, I don't know. I think of all the stuff, the handyman stuff around the house. Could I figure it out? Sure. How long would it take, and would I do a very good job? It'd take a long time, and frankly, I probably would not do a very good job. That's just all there is to it. Just look at my yard. I mean, I don't do nearly as well as professional will do. One of the reasons is I don't use, chemicals for, weed control and whatnot. But with that said, I also don't, have the edging, the state-of-the-art edging that these guys use and stuff like that. And I don't leaf blow because I don't believe in leaf blowing. And I do enjoy mowing. I do. I like to get out there and push the lawnmower and mulch my own grass and mulch my own leaves because I put them in the garden. So for me, that's money that I don't want to spend because that would take away a piece of enjoyment that I have. But for other stuff, I don't want anything to do with half that stuff. I can do small things like, fix a toilet and whatnot. But, for anything that's electrical, I'm not messing with that stuff. I've always been fearful of electrical when it comes to inputting an outlet or something like that. I mean, it's not that hard. You can find it on YouTube how to do it easily, but I'm not messing with that stuff. No way, man. I'm getting a professional to do all that. But they're going to charge you $250. I'm willing to pay that money, just because it's money well spent to me. Similar to hiring a financial advisor who charges you a fee. Just because they're charging you a fee doesn't mean it's bad money. It doesn't mean it's bad money. It is bad money if they're charging you a fee and aren't earning it, though. And that's where, like I said, a group like Creative Planning with my man Jordan and some of these other firms are actually doing pretty good work for the money they're charging. I wouldn't pay it, and I don't think most people need to, but there are people that do need to, and are people who want to, and those people are fine. I got no qualm with that, none whatsoever, none. If you're comfortable paying a fee because it takes all that stuff off your radar, and if it gives you relief, man, that is great. I don't care. Even if the same thing, go back to variable annuities. If you're comfortable with the true nature of the variable annuity that you're buying, as long as it's sold to you correctly, I got no problem with that, none whatsoever. I don't care, because there is something that you can't quantify. It's called your satisfaction level. How do you feel about this XYZ, about what you've done? If it relieves you of stress where you can sleep at night, that's money well spent. And so for Charlotte, bringing on Jordan as her advisor, knowing that he's going to take care of everything for $8,000-9,000 a year, that's money well spent. Absolutely. Maybe. It might not be. It's completely up to her. So that's money well spent. And again, if I get to the point where I'm 65 years old and said, man, I don't want to mess with this stuff, I'm going to leave it to somebody else's hands, and I got enough money where the $10,000 fee isn't killing me, I'd do it. But I frankly don't think I would, because I enjoy it. In fact, I think it's so easy to do, you don't need to hire somebody. But now you got required minimum distributions to take care of. You got to keep track of the law. You got to keep track of taxes and all that. You got to do Roth conversions. If you don't want to do all that stuff, then you hire somebody. And again, as long as they're earning their fee, it's money well spent, in my opinion. But not often. And here's where the industry has gone horribly wrong, is that they're going after those few people in America who are willing to offload that burden, to be what's called delegators. In fact, in any sales platform on financial advisory, they're always talking about delegators, because that's who you're shooting for. You're shooting for people who would delegate their financial planning to you, so that we can charge a pretty hefty fee. It's kind of interesting, actually. We're looking for delegators, and we know for a fact probably only 10% of the population are truly delegators. And because of that, we're all searching for that same 10% of the population. And of those 10% of the population are delegators, the bulk don't have that much money, not in terms of the $1 million that all these guys are shooting for. So there's few and far between delegators. Of those delegators, the vast majority are, say $250,000 portfolio. And it's going to be tough to build a significant financial planning practice on delegators at $250,000 a pop. Now, you can do it, trust me. I know you can, without question, because I've seen people do it. But that's the issue. There's so many financial advisors shooting for that small target when I went the wrong way. When they should be looking for a different target, which is find the DIYers, which is what I do, the do-it-yourselfers, and go after them and say, look, I'm not going to manage your money. I'll let you manage your money. But I am going to put the plan together because you don't know the tax consequence. You don't know the laws of what's going on. You don't know what a difference between a living trust and a irrevocable trust. You don't know this, you don't know that. And, I'd never say you don't know. I'm here to tell you what you don't know. But I am here to say, look, at the end of the day, I'm here to help you because I have an expertise that you don't necessarily. And if you do have an expertise, you'll never hire me to begin with. But a lot of these people don't, and they need help. But they don't want somebody to manage their money for them. And that completely makes sense to me. So that's kind of going back to the delegators versus the do-it-yourselfers. There's 10 times as many DIYers as there are delegators, and yet our businesses is only focused on the delegators, and all these DIYers are being left. And that's just, in my opinion, I just find that to be stupid. I find it to be bad business building and bad for the industry as a whole, because essentially we're saying if you're DIY, we have nothing for you, when we absolutely do have a lot for DIYers. All right, hey, don't forget to smash, and I hope this helps. We'll see you.